Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Caddx Kangaroo, which is a 1000 TV line nano FPV camera. And I think every other camera company has their own version. So Runcam has the Racer Nano, Foxeer has the Predator Nano, and there are some other variants of them as well. For example, the Caddx EOS 2 and the Runcam non-Racer edition Nano. So what's the difference? Well, first of all, they can have their settings changed via the same method as the micro, the mini, and full-size cameras can via a provided on-screen display controller board which connects into the back of the camera, and the image quality is much better in general than the cheaper cameras. You can switch it from a 4:3 aspect ratio to 16:9, but more on that later, and you can change between PAL and NTSC, but of course all of this does come at a price, although the Caddx Kangaroo is the cheapest out of the lot. It weighs 4.5 grams, which is about the same as the others, and comes with a 2.1mm lens, whereas some of the other brands have different lens options, although I suppose there's nothing stopping you trying out other lenses, as the thread size is an M8. Anyways, it comes with a glass lens, and it looks like it's got a built-in ND filter, although that's not mentioned anywhere, so don't take my word for it. But if I compare it to the cheaper EOS 2 lens, it looks much darker. You get a couple of other things in the box, like a 19mm adapter. I'm not sure why you'd want to use that unless you prefer the picture of this over a micro, but there you go. There's also an Allen key, a bunch of screws for mounting it to your copter, and the usual Caddx customer service card info. Now, these nano cameras are a popular replacement in Whoop models. However, I'm going to be putting this in my 6S Hobbymate Asteroid 3, which came with the 4:3 version of the EOS 2 camera. And while I didn't mind it, when the sun came out, it appeared as a black dot. So I'm hoping for better results with the Kangaroo. It comes with your standard Runcam connector, with the intention that it's a straight swap if you are already using a Runcam style connector. However, the Asteroid 3 has a custom JST cable made up for it, which connects directly into the flight controller, so I've made one up myself. So I'll put this all back together and we can take a closer look at the camera. Well, that was a really quick install. I've got the on-screen display connector just poking out of the top, but it can't reach any of the props, so that should be fine. So let's go through some of the settings. Okay, so everything is set up, and the first thing that I've noticed is that the format is incorrect. So in Betaflight it's set up as PAL, but this has clearly been set up in NTSC mode. The giveaway is that the Hobbymate sign should be at the bottom, along with the flight timer for Betaflight on-screen display. So to change that, I'm going to long press the button on the on-screen display controller upwards, and that should give us a menu. And I should be able to tab down to where it says TV mode and then press in and change it to PAL and then press exit, and it'll probably go all scrambled. So what I'll have to do is cycle the battery and hope that rapid fire plays ball and picks it back up as PAL. This is something that rapid fire struggles with, but through the goggles at least it is now showing correct. So you can also see that we've got a built-in timer and also a pilot name. Now, because I'm using Betaflight on-screen display, I want to turn those off, but if you like them and you don't use an on-screen display, then it has that. It doesn't have the voltage though, because there is no V sensor to connect up to the VBAT to get your battery voltage. So if I long press up again, then we can come down, and where it says pilot, you can press enter and that will turn it off. But if you want to change the position, then you can do that. So that's just up, down, left and right to move that, and then enter to go back. And if you go up one as well, you can actually clear this and put your own custom pilot name in there, or call sign, or whatever you want to call it. But I want to turn pilot off, so I'm going to press enter, and I also want to turn timer off, so I'm going to press enter. Now, widescreen. This is interesting. Earlier you heard me mention that this camera is 4:3 and will switch to 16:9. Now what's interesting is the sensor is a 4:3 sensor, so we should be getting the full field of view in non-16:9 mode. It says widescreen, but this is 16:9 mode. But watch what happens when I turn it off. We actually lose field of view in 4:3 mode, and that's because in 16:9 mode it's actually just dynamically stretching the video, so you actually get more field of view in 16:9 mode even though the sensor is square. And that's not really helpful for everybody. If you are a 16:9 goggle flyer, then that's great because you have got dynamic stretching of video, so an ultra wide field of view. However, it isn't that much more. You can see we are not losing vertical field of view, just horizontal field of view. But I think what they should have done is have the 4:3 mode with the full sensor, and then the 16:9 mode have the dynamic stretch, so that we can both have the full field of view. However, I don't think it's going to be too bad. I'm going to fly with both. It might be a little bit distorted with widescreen on. But anyways, I'm going to exit out of that. And if we want to change more settings, then we press the button in the middle and we can adjust the picture settings, so we can flip the image if I need to, but I don't need to do that. And we've got the brightness, contrast, sharpness, hue, color, and gain, and I'm just going to keep all of that stock. We've got day and night, auto, so you should be able to change that to manual. So yeah, we've just got manual, and you can go in there and have it black and white, or color. So I just want it in color, obviously. So, and I also want it to do auto, so I'm going to go back there. I'm going to leave white balance as auto as well, but yeah, look at that, we have got a lot of options in there. I'm just going to keep it at auto again. Then language, we have got English, and dare I change it? There we go. So yeah, we've got all sorts there. I'll just keep going through until, yeah, so there we go, back to English, and you can reset the camera there, and that is all of the camera settings. And you can save it if you haven't made any changes, or not save, or just cancel, which I guess is the same as not save. So this first flight was done in widescreen mode, aka 16:9 mode, but first of all I'm showing it to you in a 4:3 aspect ratio, because that's how I was flying it, because I'm using my HDO goggles, which have the 4:3 aspect ratio OLED screens, and it looks alright, doesn't it? But unfortunately the DVR has not captured some distortions that I was getting when I was flying in person, and I think that's because the DVR in the Fat Sharks has a lower bit rate, so it's not an exact representation of what I was seeing through the goggles. And when I yawed like that, I was getting this strange distortion. It was like lines of pixels were moving as I was yawing, and I just think it's this dynamic stretching when it is squished a little bit, that it just looks a little bit strange through the camera. So I think I'd have to say that when I'm finished with this review, this camera's going to stay on this model, but I will be switching it to the 4x3 view and losing a little bit of field of view just so that I don't get those distortions. And my feedback to Caddx would be, if you have a camera that's got a 4x3 sensor, then why not make the best of both worlds for both 16:9 goggle users and 4x3 goggle users? You could have the full field of view in 4x3, and then you could do your dynamic stretching for 16:9. But they haven't chosen to do that. You lose field of view. Now, maybe it's got something to do with the patent of having dynamic stretching built in a camera. I don't know, but I thought that was just HD. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not in a position to talk about that, but that would be my feedback. Other than that, this is what it looks like when it is dynamically stretched to 16:9, and for you 16:9 goggle users, it is going to be absolutely fantastic. And the picture is fantastic, it's crystal clear, and I'm a big fan of the clarity and the colors and everything. This next flight was done in 4x3 mode, and actually when you're flying you can't notice that much that you've lost a little bit of field of view. That is why I'm not too bothered about it. But you know, it is a fact that you are losing field of view when you don't need to be. So yeah, that is my conclusion. Anyways, some friends join me in a little while. They live on the estate and they are always interested when I'm flying around here. So big shout out to those guys. You will see them later in this video. But yeah, I will put a link in the description if you wish to purchase this camera, and I'll leave you with some flying. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.